Yes, you guys. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted Gareth Southgate has made his decision. He's got his provisional England squad for Euro 2024 out now. This will be cut to 26 players in June, as you can read here. And obviously, Fabrizio has mentioned a couple of players who he thought it was worthwhile making remarks about the fact that they weren't included. A couple of names I'd like to add as well, but let's have a look. Marcus Rashford obviously really struggled with form this year. Ben Chilwell, again, in and out with injuries. Reece James, similar kind of thing. Henderson, injuries, age. I think a couple of other players have passed him by. Calvin Phillips, form has to come into it at some point. Didn't get the game time he wanted and potentially deserved at Man City, especially after that transfer fee from Leeds. Then went to West Ham, did not set the world alight. Nick Pope, is he in keeping with what Gareth Southgate wants? A possession-based goalkeeper who's comfortable enough doing that, can stand tall in the moment. Raheem Sterling again, form. Jadon Sancho, what a strange year it's been for him. Levi Colwill as well. I want to throw in Dominic Solanke as well. Dominic Solanke has been unbelievable for Bournemouth. I believe it's 19 goals for a Bournemouth side who, in terms of their form, especially over the last 6 months or so, have been incredible. And he's been a real kind of major factor in that as well. Another person I want to add, you guys know me very well at this point. I'm not strictly understanding why James Ward-Prowse just isn't involved at all. Again, I know maybe he's picked up a couple of knocks and maybe this West Ham team hasn't been at its best, but to even not be involved and with a couple of names that have been included here, very strange to me. But anyway, let's take a look at this pre-Euro 2024 training camp squad for England. So Henderson, Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, James Trafford, Brathwaite, Dunk, Gomez, Gahey, Konsa, Maguire, Kwanzaa, Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Carl Walker, Brent, Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice, Adam Wharton, Bellingham, Bowen, Eze, Foden, Gordon, Grealish, Kane, Maddison, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins. Now, this is going to be cut to 26 players in June. I've done a brilliant thing for Gareth Southgate. I've already done it for him. So I'm going to go over to my tactics board here real quick. Because this is my 20, I'm going to make sure I count right here. This is my 26-man squad going into the Euro 2024 tournament, combined with the starting 11 and the guys on the bench as well. I'm going to try and go through and pick out some more of the positions that you may think are slightly more of interest, some players who are going, who you might be wondering why, and then also just potentially putting out any fires that I can get ahead of for you guys as well. So, first of all, goalkeeper. I've gone for two goalkeepers instead of three. Now, you guys might be thinking, well, hang on, you usually always take three. It's so crazy. What if somebody gets hurt? There needs to be a backup. In the Euros, I believe you're allowed to take 12 substitutes with you to each game. I think it's a total of five substitutes you can use for each game. If it goes to extra time, you can use a sixth as well. So it's not a case of taking a squad and players don't even get kitted up as available substitutes. All players are available to be subs. To me, taking it game by game, I think you can get away with two goalkeepers. In the history of the game, use of three goalkeepers, be it in a Euros or a World Cup, and actually needing that third player is just very unlikely. So to me, with kind of a slightly more restricted squad size, I just feel a little bit more comfortable taking just the two goalkeepers with the hopes that we don't get two goalkeeper injuries in 1 month in a position that very rarely gets injured, and that can be used elsewhere to cover for weaker areas of the squad, which I'll get into now. Left back. Luke Shaw in the provisional squad list was very strange to me. Very strange. Barely played much football. Again, when he does play, he's been very good. But I don't think he's going to play the FA Cup final. He's not played for weeks at this point for Manchester United. I think the issue is the strength of the position for England. Our weakest position at this point is probably left back. As you can see, the position group that I've selected is a right back, a guy who's been injured for months, and a centre back. Not ideal. The only reason Joe Gomez even manages to make it is he spent some time at left back this season for Liverpool. So, not thrilled with that position, but that's why I do have a little bit of extra cover because we don't know what Luke Shaw is going to be capable of at this point. do we see Trent or Walker or somebody of that nature making their way over to left back in a kind of panic scenario? Potentially. That's why we have the extra cover at left back. I think it's a very important position. We know how important fullback is in the modern game, and it just has to be dealt with. It has to be covered. Kieran Trippier for me starts though at left back. As much as I want to give it to Luke Shaw, and if Luke Shaw was firing fit and ready to go, then I'd happily give it to him. But that's not the case. We have to be realistic here. And even Trippier is coming back from injury. I think that's got to be our best bet at left back. Centre back partnerships. Obviously, I'm thrilled with John Stones. I don't have the cojones to put Gahey, Concert, or Branthwaite in as starting ahead of Harry Maguire. And again, Harry Maguire, despite a massive amount of criticism over the last year, 18 months or so, has kind of puffed his chest out and put in some good performances. And again, I know it's a cliche, but always does well for England. So I'm going to leave Maguire and Stones as the centre back partnerships. Branthwaite, I think, deserves the call up. His form, Gahey and Tonsa, very much the same way. They played enough games and showed a calibre of performance that I think I'm happy with. I'm just going to try and touch on the names I've left out so far. So Dean Henderson, James Trafford do not make it for me. Lewis Dunk, I just don't feel like it's a good fit. For some reason, the performances at Brighton feel to me so much better than the ones for England. Quansah just not ready yet, and then the other guys make it there. Right back, usually blessed in this position in a major way. Carl Walker getting a little older, but the performances are still there. He has to start. Trent is difficult because if you play Trent, you're kind of forcing yourself to have Carl Walker come in and play in kind of a three centre back role as a right sided centre back. And I don't think that's what England should do in this tournament. Kyle Walker's the better performer. I don't have the cojones to play Trent Alexander Arnold as a central midfielder yet. He may get there, but not quite yet. So to me, he's a sub. And again, what fantastic sub to bring out at some point for Trent Alexander Arnold. I've gone for it in holding midfield. Kobbie Mainoo does start for England for me in kind of a double pivot with Declan Rice. Declan Rice can do a lot of covering, a lot of good protection work. Kobbie Mainoo can kind of shutter across as well and do a lot of that work as well. But he's comfortable having the ball to feet in a team that we're going to be in, which is going to be, you'd like to think, a possession dominant team where we have a lot of the ball and we get our players that you can see going forward on the ball more to create chances and opportunities to score. I think Kobbie Mainoo deserves that opportunity and deserves that start. Backups for them. Conor Gallagher, again, I think just gets around the pitch, is a good professional and does the dirty things well. It's not sexy, it's not particularly fun. I do think he's a reliable squad player for this England team and he has to go. Wharton. I think Adam Wharton's been very impressive. And it's not just been over the last couple of weeks. I think since his move to Palace, everybody who has known about him, anybody who's played Football Manager, I've done a Blackburn save myself, knows all about Adam Wharton. This guy and this kid can be an absolute superstar going forward. Of course, he doesn't quite make the cut just yet. In a crazy situation where Rice, Mainoo, and Maddison are all hurt potentially, I can see Adam Wharton coming in and still doing a very reasonable job in that spot. That kind of covers our double base there in midfield. You've heard me make reference to it already. The number 10 role, we know it's not going to be a rigid 4-2-3-1, right? We know it's not going to be a rigid 4-3-3. Of course, it's not. But you've got the likes of Maddison, you've got the likes of Eze in there who are capable of playing multiple positions within midfield. And especially when it comes to somebody like Eze, very comfortable out wide as well. Bellingham has to start. Bellingham, aside from maybe Harry Kane, is the best player in this team. Bellingham has to start, has to play that crucial role at 10. You have to basically let him do what he wants to do and make sure there's the support around him that will let him shine. He is a difference maker in a tournament that may be won in a big moment. You just hope it falls to him. Maddison deserves his credit. The one thing I'm thinking now, I'm looking at it, does Eze deserve to be ahead of Maddison in the pecking order? Maybe let me know in the comments section. But I think that's very strong. And again, Bellingham can drop back if he needs to. So can Maddison. So can Eze. I like the cover in midfield of 4, 5, 6, 7 positions just to cover 3. I feel good about that going into the Euros. Over on the left-hand side, yeah, guys, look, I haven't put Phil Foden into that midfield 3. I just don't think we're quite there yet in relation to what he can do. I would also say with Bellingham and his potential movement as well, Trippier potentially getting a little further forward. We want Foden to start picking up pockets on that left-hand side. I think that's where he's going to be best. But I have no doubt he'll be given a little bit of freedom to move. On the sub, Anthony Gordon, again, not super flashy, but he's very, very effective. And his performances this year, I think, definitely deserve him this spot as on the left-hand side. The likes of Rashford, the likes of Grealish, some of the names I think you might consider throwing in here, again, just haven't been up to it. And Anthony Gordon's been much better. So let's take a look at kind of midfielders and forwards that I've not brought here. Curtis Jones, again, nice kind of player. Maybe if there was one more spot, I'd make some room for him. Um, and that's about it on those ones there. Right hand side, potentially a tricky one, but I have gone for Cole Palmer ahead of Bukayo Saka. I'm not saying Bukayo Saka has had a bad year by any means, but we can't not talk about how brilliant Cole Palmer's been. I think he's slightly better out on the right. I don't know if I'd trust him in this England team in the number 10 spot, especially when you have the likes of Jude Bellingham around you. I think Cole Palmer coming in off the right, getting involved in play, being creative, drawing attention, I think he's a more effective and at this point in time, a better informed player than Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka coming off the bench, though, I feel pretty good about. Leading the line and going forward, I think striker, the reason why I've gone for three strikers is because it is a position of strength. I think at the moment for England with Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins, especially with the 2 seasons respectively that the two understudies have had. Ollie Watkins is the interesting one because he has been brilliant. But obviously, you've got Ivan Toney with his whole betting scandal and that when he was able to come out. I think we saw in the recent friendlies that Ivan Toney is a better fit for this England team and Gareth Southgate than Ollie Watkins is. Ollie Watkins offers something a little bit different than these two. So potentially, if we're down in a game, or if we're kind of maybe playing a lower block with kind of a faster direct break on the counter attack, maybe Watkins can come on and help out there. But I think Ivan Toney's a slightly better understudy there as well. Harry Kane, what can you say? Again, I think he's in the discussion for best player in the world at the moment, especially with his performances with Bayern Munich. He's been absolutely immense, and we're going to rely on him heavily if we're going to have any success in this tournament. You've heard my thoughts. You know where I'm at with this. This is what my squad would look like going into Euro 2024. I just want to clarify a couple of things. It is a squad of 26 going. There's 11 starting players. You're then allowed, I believe it's 12 substitutes in total that you can take with you as well. So the vast majority of these players are going to be playing most of the games. And then on top of that, 5 substitutions per game. Going into extra time games, you get an additional substitute as well. Let me know what you guys think. Have I got this right? Have I got this wrong? What do you think of my starting 11? Is there anybody I haven't picked who you'd pick? Anybody else apart from the likes of Dom Solanke who you thought it was harsh that they missed out? Please let me know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see you later.